All right, moving on. Are you number 6 now or 5?
I think I'm number 5 now.
Okay, go for it.
And so my number 5, I think you saw this as well, and I'm thinking it probably didn't make your list, but Last Night in Soho. Is that?
I chose to leave it off because I knew you would put it on.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I feel it. I fucking, this was a really solid movie. I think we talked about it briefly a few weeks or like a month or whatever ago, and I hadn't seen it at that point. Of course, I'm always behind getting to the theater, but when I saw it, I really liked it. I know this one kind of had less, it seemed like it was less well received compared to some of Edgar Wright's other movies, or like certainly compared to like say like Baby Driver. I feel like Baby Driver was perhaps maybe a little bit overrated, and that this I feel like was kind of underrated for buzz-wise or whatever. But I don't know, I'm kind of in the bag for Edgar Wright. I liked this is he's, it's one of those things where he's just such a great craftsman, everything. Like, I love the way he shoots. I love the fact that the way he thinks of his stories, you can tell he's got like the pacing and the montages and the lighting and everything mapped out in his mind right beforehand. And I just love how everything so fluidly transitions into one scene or the other, and this is a great story for that type of style. If you haven't seen the trailer before, the story is basically the movie centers around Thomasin McKenzie as Eloise, who's a young girl who just got into a nice fashion design school in London, and so she moves to London from a small town, and she rents a loft from a mean old lady down in Soho, the Soho district of London, which is famously like kind of the arts district and everything. And the weird thing is, at night, she starts to find that she has these weird dreams or hallucinations about a mysterious blonde woman in the 60s, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. And so she, will wake up and kind of start to follow this blonde woman around, and then kind of almost seem like she takes her place, like kind of like a what's it called, a Quantum Leap type of thing, where there's a lot of mirror tricks, and the cool thing, like one of the things I really like about it is just all the practical, you can tell.
Dude, the dance scene is incredible. Yeah. Like I watched like behind the scenes rehearsal footage of them doing the dance scene where, I mean, you see them like huddling behind the camera at the right spots and everything like that. Yeah, they have to time it perfectly. Like it appears as, is it Matt Smith?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Doctor Who guy.
Yeah, the guy from Doctor Who is dancing with one of them, but as the camera moves around him for the most part, kind of using him as a blocking device, right? Like the girls like swap in and swap out, so it gives you the illusion that he's dancing with like two different people, but it's really the same person.
And it's really cool. And that behind the scenes thing. Like, there's certain things in it that, like, I almost, just because we're so used to digital everything, like, I almost assumed certain things were more digital effects, and, like, the fact that they did them practically, really, I think it was cool, because it translates. Even if you can't tell, like, it gives it a different feel when it's almost more like a magic trick like that. What else to say about it, aside from in non-spoiler territory? Yeah, so basically, it's, the movie kind of starts out as this kind of like almost fairy tale, this girl going into the 60s, and Eloise is obsessed with the 60s, so it's fitting that she kind of goes into this previous era of fashion that's so distinctive, and it kind of influences her designs and whatnot. But then it kind of starts to turn into a horror movie. She starts seeing Matt Smith stalk this girl. He's this guy that romances her, and then by her I mean Anya Taylor-Joy, and kind of brings her into this world. She's trying to become a singer, but he might have malicious intent for her, and then it kind of goes from there, and it kind of becomes one of those almost like Frequency, one of those movies where it takes place kind of simultaneously in two eras at once, and it's the back and forth mystery of it that's kind of fun. But yeah, I thought it was great. It was totally enjoyable. I think it's like, just like, I don't know, Edgar Wright always gives something that even if it's not as solid on the story front, his craftsmanship always kind of like makes sure that I'm engaged. And honestly, this one I think was actually pretty solid. I think I like this one a little bit more than Baby Driver. So
okay.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Yeah, did you have anything else that you thought about it? Or?
No, I mean, yeah, like we talked about it a little bit. I thought like I'm bummed out that it didn't do as well as I guess, I don't know. I mean, I think we just assumed, like, I felt like it was marketed well enough, and then it just did not get
it just got
any box
up.
office traction. Yeah, man, it just kind of it faded away into friggin' nothingness. It it released around Halloween, so I thought there'd be like some horror Halloween pickup.
I think there was a lot of things, Halloween and Christmas this year. There's a lot of things that came out, and I think there's a lot of things that just got swallowed up in the vortex of new releases.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we've got a video out on it. I think I titled it, like, will they keep letting Edgar Wright make weird movies? something like that, because that was our thinking, is like, is this the box office failure kind of gonna push or force his hand to kind of go back to a more familiar, are we getting another Shaun of the Dead? Are we getting another Baby Driver? Are we getting something that's more...
He's going to have to start pulling out another sequel, go back to the well.
Go back to the well, right? I mean, or maybe something less, because this was a genre-bending, weird, what the hell is this? So I don't even know, I don't know if maybe the marketing got a little, confused about how to kind of sell it, I don't know, maybe the... I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think it was a horror movie enough to really sell to the horror audience, but it wasn't like the horror audience was really going to want to buy into this weird, like, teenage girl fantasy kind of.
Right. I mean, I think maybe the core audience that they were kind of hoping would go see it wasn't interested in 60s period piece of big goofy hair and like nightclub, like swing dancing that is heavily featured in the trailers and stuff.
It kind of also reminds me of his other slightly less well-received movie at World's End, which feels like, all of his movies are very England specific or UK specific, but this in particular, because it's set in this specific district of London, like I'm sure it played better there, where there's more like culturally specific references and stuff like that or whatever.